Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Cut to the Chase. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about using step sheets. I'll be telling you about what they are and how to use them. And this particular video is packed with some really good tips for developing your story ideas. And I'm also going to show you the tools that I use and the methods that I incorporate into my step sheet to make it even better. So we know that stories usually start out as an inspiration. And once you've gotten that down, then you get to the premise of your story. And so for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be putting together a simple one. We have a young boy and girl who meet on their bus ride to a summer camp and become fast friends. Once they get there, they meet sort of a creepy camp counselor, and they uncover a mysterious history to this camp. And then in the end, it all comes to an exciting conclusion as the girl races against time to find the missing boy and save his life. All right, so there we have our premise. Now let's see where we go from here. So now you have your idea, and you can see it so vividly in your mind, it's almost cinematic. You get to the computer, you sit down, and 15 minutes later, you're still staring at a blank screen. Well, this isn't new to most writers. I mean, after all, you're facing the monumental task of transmuting these ideas, these concepts, into story arc, dialogue, conflict, character development, time, place, settings, subplots, subtext. It's huge. Well, this is where the step sheet comes into place. So now I'm going to tell you how to use it and some of the best tips for putting it together. So for those of you not familiar with step sheets, they're kind of like storyboards they use in movies. It's a chronological series of plot points that track the story from the beginning to the end. Now, when I first started using them, I used index cards, which was okay at the time. I'd have a little plot note here and then another one that it's sort of connected to and so on and so forth. But eventually you end up with this stack of index cards, and then you've got to keep them in the right order, so then you number them, and then you may lose some, or you may run out of room to write your notes on, and it becomes kind of a big mess. Now, there's been a lot of progress in the way of step sheets since that time. And one of them that I particularly use is a tool called Scalpel by Literature and Latte. Now, I should say from the very get-go, I'm not compensated or rewarded in any way from Literature and Latte, nor am I associated with them. It's a tool that I found that works best for me and that I feel is really beneficial. Now, should you decide not to use Scalpel, the methods that I'm going to show you as I demonstrate this are still applicable, so I don't want you to feel like you're locked in. Now, remember also that this is about building a step sheet and how to construct it and how to get the best out of it. If later on, after you've watched this video, you have questions about how to use Scalpel and shortcuts and that sort of thing, be sure to let me know in the comments section below, and I'll make a video describing all of those things. Okay, so let's get to the step sheet. So here we have our step sheet. Now I've broken this down basically into just 3 chapters, or 3-part structure for the story. Beginning, middle, and end. You'll notice in the beginning here, I've got our characters, dialogue, and plot points. Now this works pretty good. But if you take a look, after a while and you start thinking about what you're looking at, you begin to recognize that while you've got your notes down here and you're doing this, you're losing track of where is your plot going and what are your characters doing. And you need that character development and that plot development to be able to track easily. So what I've done here is I've color-coded all the important elements of my story. So like chapter headings. I've set up a pre-formatted look for my chapter headings, and they're easily recordable. Same thing for my plot points. So as I see my plot here, I want to track it through the entire story. So I highlight those, put into my format, and just like that, I'm done. But I also want to have a little bit better visual. So what I'll do is I'll connect these. And now, as my story grows and it becomes more fleshed out, I can easily see where my plot is leading. So I also want to track my characters. So where the character has a major role that they play, then I'll color code that. And I've got my note style for them as well. Now, some of these may not have anything to do with the actual character arc. I only connect those things where they are important to the character development. Otherwise, where they're not, I don't have them connected. So there's one other thing. There's going to be times where I'm going to have 2 or perhaps more characters in one of my step sheet notes, and where they intersect into just one character. So when I do that, I come up here to my notes section and I'll do a connect with arrows. It's just another more visual clue on what's happening. Now, if you want, you can come up with your own color codes or shapes that denote 2 or more characters and what's happening with them. Personally, I like to keep it as simple as possible because you can see that eventually it can get a little bit cluttered on a step sheet. Another nice method you can use is, let's say that you're putting together an action story. You want to make sure that each chapter has got something sort of thrilling and exciting for the reader that goes on. So you could easily come over here, create an action notation, color code that however you'd like, and then you can add that to it. So let's say that I want action to be, it still involves this character, but anything that's action related, I can come and I can change that. So I would go into my view, pull up the inspector, and then I can change the border style. So I could come up and I could make action jagged. See? So if my character is now involved in something that's got action going on, here they have a fight. Well, not really actiony, but you know what? What the heck? For this purpose, it works just fine. So I'm going to bring up my inspector. I'm going to make that a jagged moment. So now I know which character is involved and what's going on. So that's it for using a step sheet and my method on how I do it. Hopefully you get a lot out of this. Well, that's it for this edition of Cut to the Chase. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out. And let me know in the comments below, what did you think of the video? And what are your thoughts about using step sheets? What are your methods? Maybe you can leave some tips for other viewers. Click the subscribe button, and that way you won't miss out on future episodes of Cut to the Chase as well. That's it until next time. You guys have been great. Thanks so much for watching.